The Story King. Welcome to The Story King, where every tale captivates your heart and keeps you on the edge of your seat. Let's begin today's unforgettable story. The bruises she couldn't hide. The kitchen knife clattered against the cutting board in a rhythm that had become Sarah's heartbeat, steady, predictable, safe. At 19, she'd learned that if she kept her head down and her hands busy, the world mostly forgot she existed. And that was exactly how she needed it. "Girl, where's the Alpha's breakfast?" Chef Morris's bark made her flinch, and the slight movement sent a sharp pain radiating through her ribs. "Almost ready, Chef," she whispered, plating the eggs with trembling fingers. She didn't see him enter. Nobody ever did. Alpha Dominic Blackthorne moved like smoke through shadows, and the first indication of his presence was the sudden silence that fell over the packhouse kitchen like a burial shroud. Sarah's hands froze mid-motion. Through her lowered lashes, she could see his polished black boots, custom-made, probably worth more than she'd earn in a lifetime. Her heart hammered against her bruised ribs. "You." His voice was midnight-given sound, dark, smooth, dangerous. She didn't dare look up. "Yes, Alpha, look at me." It wasn't a request. In the werewolf hierarchy, an Alpha's command was as binding as gravity. Sarah's head lifted slowly, and for the first time in the 3 months she'd worked in his kitchen, her eyes met Dominic Blackthorne's. They were gray, like a winter storm, and just as merciless. His face was carved from granite, sharp jawline, aristocratic nose, lips that had forgotten how to smile. At 32, he was the youngest Alpha in the Northern Territories and the most feared. Rumors said he'd killed his own father to take the throne. Other rumors said that was the kindest thing he'd ever done. His eyes narrowed, and Sarah realized with horror that her sleeve had ridden up, exposing the mottled purple and yellow bruises that encircled her wrist like a grotesque bracelet. Time crystallized. Every person in the kitchen held their breath. "Come with me." He turned and walked away, expecting obedience. Sarah's legs nearly gave out. Chef Morris grabbed her arm, the bruised one, and she bit her lip to keep from crying out. "Don't make him wait, stupid girl," he hissed. She followed the Alpha through corridors she'd never been allowed to enter, past tapestries that cost more than houses, under chandeliers that dripped crystal light. He led her to his private office and closed the door with a soft click that sounded like a cell locking. "Sit." She perched on the edge of a leather chair that probably cost more than her life. Dominic moved to stand before the floor-to-ceiling window, his back to her, hands clasped behind him. The silence stretched like taffy, thin and painful. "How long?" he finally asked. "Alpha, I don't." "How long?" Each word was chipped from ice. Sarah's throat closed. "I don't know what you mean." He turned, and the look in his eyes made her shrink back. But there was something else there, something she couldn't identify. It looked almost like fury. But not at her. "Stand up. Remove your jacket. Alpha, please. Now." She stood on shaking legs and peeled off the oversized chef's jacket with numb fingers. Underneath, her thin t-shirt hid nothing. Bruises painted her arms in shades of violence, handprints on her biceps, finger marks on her shoulders, the distinctive line of a belt across her collarbone. The sound Dominic made was barely human, a growl that started deep in his chest and rumbled through the room like distant thunder. The windows rattled. Sarah stumbled backward, hitting the chair. "Who?" It was barely a word. It was a death sentence, waiting for a name. "Nobody. I'm clumsy, I don't." He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, Sarah saw something that terrified her more than his anger, concern. "Don't lie to me, little one. I can smell the fear on you. I can smell him. Who's been hurting you?" Tears burned her eyes. She hadn't cried in months. Crying made it worse. "It doesn't matter. It matters to me." 3 words. They broke something inside her. "My stepfather," she whispered. "But I can't. I have nowhere else to go. My mother died last year, and he lets me live there as long as I give him my wages. If I leave, I'll be homeless. Please, Alpha, Don't fire me. I'll work harder, I'll. Quiet. He pulled out his phone, pressed a button. Gamma Reed, I need you in my office. Now. Bring the pack doctor. No. Sarah lurched forward. No doctors, please. It's not that bad. I can't afford. You think I'm asking? His eyes flashed gold, his wolf rising to the surface. But his next words were gentle, almost tender. Sit down before you fall down. She collapsed into the chair, hugging herself. Within minutes, the door opened. A massive man with kind eyes entered, followed by a middle-aged woman carrying a medical bag. They both froze when they saw Sarah. Mother of the Moon, the woman breathed. Dr. Phillips, examine her. Every injury. Document everything. Dominic's voice could have cut diamonds. Read. Find out everything about her stepfather. Name, address, occupation. Where he drinks, where he sleeps, what he eats for breakfast. I want to know when he blinks. Yes, Alpha. Reed's smile was predatory. The next hour was a blur of gentle hands and clinical assessments. Dr. Phillips worked with efficient compassion while Dominic stood at the window, rigid as a statue. Sarah could see his reflection in the glass, jaw clenched, hands fisted, a vein pulsing in his temple. 3 cracked ribs, multiple contusions in various stages of healing, mild concussion, malnutrition, and severe sleep deprivation, Dr. Phillips reported, her voice tight with controlled anger. The injuries are consistent with sustained physical abuse over several months. Will she heal? Physically, yes, with proper rest, nutrition, and care. Emotionally, the doctor's eyes softened as she looked at Sarah. That takes longer. Dominic finally turned. Pack your things. You're moving into the pack house. Tonight. Alpha, I can't. You misunderstand. This isn't a request or an offer. This is me telling you what's going to happen. He moved closer, and despite everything, Sarah didn't feel afraid. You will live here, in the Omega Wing, with full pack protection. You will continue working in the kitchen if you wish, but your wages will be tripled and deposited into an account only you can access. You will never return to that house. You will never see that man again. Do you understand? But, why? The question escaped before she could stop it. Why would you do this for me? I'm nobody, just a human cook who. You are under my protection now. That makes you pack. His eyes held hers. And I protect what's mine. Something warm unfurled in Sarah's chest, something she'd thought had died with her mother. Hope. 3 days later, the town of Silver Creek fell silent. Sarah was settling into her new room, a space larger than the closet she'd been sleeping in at her stepfather's house, when she heard the commotion. Whispers rippled through the pack house like wildfire. The Alpha did what? I heard he personally. No one's seen Marcus in days. She found out the truth from Lily, one of the Omega kitchen staff who'd befriended her. Your stepfather, Lily said, eyes wide. Alpha Dominic challenged him, publicly, in front of the whole town. Sarah's blood ran cold. Challenged him. To what? Werewolf justice. He made Marcus shift, forced him, they say, with pure alpha dominance, and then. Lily swallowed. He didn't kill him. That would have been mercy. He broke him. Every bone that man broke in you, the alpha broke in him. Every bruise, every cut. Then he banished him from the territory. Said if Marcus ever came within 100 miles, he'd finish the job. The room spun. The whole town watched. Lily continued. Nobody said a word. Nobody defended him. And when it was over, Alpha Dominic looked at the crowd and said, this is what happens to those who hurt what belongs to me. Sarah, the whole territory is talking about it. About you. That evening, Sarah found herself summoned to the Alpha's office again. Her hands didn't shake this time. Dominic stood at his usual spot by the window, but he turned when she entered. In the dying light, his features were softer somehow. You've heard, he said. Yes. Are you angry? The question surprised her. Should I be? Some would say I had no right. That it was your battle to fight. Sarah thought about that. About years of silent suffering. of bruises hidden under long sleeves, of walking on eggshells in what should have been her home. About feeling powerless and small and worthless. He would have killed me eventually, she said quietly. I knew it. I think part of me was just waiting for it. Dominic's jaw clenched. Never again. You will never wait for death again, little one. You will live. Do you hear me? You will live loudly and boldly and without fear. Tears slipped down her cheeks. Why do you care? He crossed the distance between them in 3 strides and did something that shocked them both. He reached out and gently wiped away her tears with his thumb. Because when I look at you, I see strength, he said softly. I see someone who survived hell and still showed up to cook breakfast with gentle hands. I see someone worth protecting. Worth. He stopped, seeming to struggle with the words. My wolf recognized you the moment you looked at me. And an alpha's wolf is never wrong. Sarah's breath caught. Recognized me as what? His smile was small but genuine, the first she'd ever seen from him. As mine, he whispered. In whatever way you'll have me. As protector, as friend, as. His thumb traced her cheekbone with devastating tenderness. As whatever you need me to be. For the first time in years, Sarah felt safe. Truly, bone-deep safe. She leaned into his touch. What if I need you to be everything? The smile that transformed his face could have lit the whole pack house. Then everything is what you'll get. Outside, the town of Silver Creek remained silent, but within the pack house, something beautiful was beginning, a story of healing, of strength found in gentleness, of an alpha who ruled with iron but loved with his whole heart. And Sarah, she was learning to live again. Thank you for joining the Story King on this emotional journey. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your alpha is waiting in the next tale. See you soon.